my favourite fish stew. It's called Bourride. What makes it so lovely is it's got an enormous amount of aioli in it, so it's very garlicky, lots of olive oil and lots of Provençal flavours. And to begin with, I'm going to make the stock, the flavoured stock, which is the essential part of the Bourride. The fish actually goes in at the very last minute because it's in fillet form and it takes little time to cook. So first of all, let's chop up some veg. First garlic, onion. I can smell my oil starting to get hot now. Just go a little bit hotter, and in that goes. Next, very important in the flavouring of this Provençal fish stew is fennel. Now leek. There we go. Then a bit of a stir or a shake. Smelling rather nice. Now, a very important ingredient to me is orange. Some orange peel. Just about a couple of pieces of peel. Let's say a couple or three. It's not as bitter. In goes that. Shake, rattle and roll. Just let that cook down a little bit. Now an ingredient which I'm afraid I've added, this would never be in a normal Provençal Bourride, but I'm a bit addicted to a little bit of background heat in a fish stew. So about half, just an ordinary finger chilli. Now we'll put some saffron in. I've got quite a lot of saffron. I've sort of accumulated it over the years. As you know, saffron is one of the most expensive commodities in the food world, and I've got a lot of it. I sort of feel it's a bit like farmers with rolls of £10 notes in their back pocket. I feel I'm sort of like prosperous if I've got plenty of saffron. So in goes a generous pinch of saffron. I mean generous. Shake it all about. Smelling just gorgeous. Now I can start looking at some of the sort of wetter ingredients. First of all, a couple of tomatoes, just roughly chopped. And I've got some herbs to add. I've got some fennel herb. That's why I didn't put the whole fennel in there. I've got plenty of fennel herb in, giving it a nice aniseedy flavour. Some thyme. Growing in the garden, I've got a new garden out there. I've got lots of herbs, so this has all come from there. Fresh bay leaves. There we go. Now, I'll put some salt in now, just about half a teaspoon, because I will season it up a bit when I've finished. Just let that cook down for a little bit, about another 2 or 3 minutes. So now we get to the boring bit, because we've got to wait about half an hour while all these lovely fried, beautifully tasting vegetables cook down with my fish stock. So time has passed and my soup, the basis of the soup, is ready to go. So there's 2 ways I can serve the Bourride. I can leave all these vegetables in the stock. They look lovely, but if I want a more sort of refined restaurant treatment, I would pass all these veg off and throw them out. But generally, these dishes are for home cooking, so I'm going to leave the veg in. So the next thing to do is to cook the fish. I've got here some bass fillets, some monkfish, you maybe not get it in every supermarket, and also some cod. But what I've done with the cod is I've just salted the cod for about 2 hours and I'm just refreshing it in water. And the reason for that is that when you put salt with a fish like cod or hake or haddock, it firms it up. But also having a slightly salty fillet of fish in with the other fillets gives the other fillets a great sweetness. So I'm now just going to cut the fish into sort of bite-sized pieces. First the bass, like that. And then my monkfish, like that. And finally the cod. Slice that a bit thinner, like that. And I'll just pop those all in the stock for probably no more than 4 or 5 minutes. I'll put the bass in after because it's a bit thinner. Move that around a bit. Don't want to overcook it, so yeah, 4 or 5 minutes would be absolutely enough, and I've got it on a very low heat. So, put the bass in now. See, I'm not getting all flustered with this. It's very easy to do. Just bring that to the boil, cook off the fish. Smelling wonderful, but it smells wonderful now. You just wait. Not that you can smell it, but you wait until the aioli gets in there. Then it becomes something. So now that those are cooked, you can see. So now it's time to take them out. Don't waste time here, because if you do, you'll find that all the fish breaks up, and you don't want that. There we go. Doesn't matter if a few vegetables cling to it, because all the veg are going to go back in there anyway. Good. So just keep that warm. Now what I need to do is the really important bit, is drain off the veg through this sieve. Like that. Maybe another spoonful or so. Let's get rid of the last of that. Don't want that. This goes back in here, and we fetch the aioli. So we want a good quantity of aioli in here now, probably about 3 really heaped tablespoons. Now we'll just splash a bit of sauce in there, not too much. Get a whisk, add those together. Then add the rest. I'm not adding it all at once, because I don't want to cook the egg yolk in the aioli. So that's well amalgamated. Back into the pan, this pan. And now just warm this very gently. I'm just going to chop some parsley to garnish my my final dish. Rough chop. And now, very, very carefully, just bring this back just under the boil. And as you bring it up to the boil, it'll just thicken very nicely. And what makes this fish stew, I think, so appetizing is the fact that the sauce, or the bouillon in there, is a bit thick, and it just makes it just a bit more attractive, I think. And then pour that slightly thickened garlicky sauce right over the top, and add the parsley. And there you have it, Bourride, ready to eat, with lots of plainly boiled potatoes or a very spare mash.